What's going on, guys? This is Twister Don Jiu-Jitsu Boy 98 coming to you with a Dark Souls video. And in this video, I want to talk a little bit about Bloodborne, a little bit about what Dark Souls means to us as Dark Souls players, a little bit about Dark Souls 2, a little bit about everything, man. Just a little bit about the Souls genre. Uh, I haven't played Dark Souls in a while. It's been since December, January. And in these videos, got on the other night and started recording with my PVR, hooked my PS3 back up. I had the PS3 hooked up to the bedroom or the bedroom TV, so I was watching Netflix and stuff. But here I'm actually back in the living room with my PS3, and I'm on a mid-roll slash fast roll build by switching it up. Pretty good build here, guys. Pretty good build here, guys. Got the Mask of the Mother there. But I'm not trying to talk about combat in Dark Souls. But you know, Bloodborne's being released in a few days, and I'm not as hyped up about Bloodborne as I was Dark Souls 2. Man, I expected so many good things from Dark Souls 2. I know a lot of you did as well, and it kind of just really let me down, man. And I enjoyed Dark Souls 2, man. I enjoyed a lot of things about Dark Souls 2. I had friends that played it, and we co-op through the game, and I think it did some stuff better than Dark Souls, but I also think it took a step back in many ways. And for one, I like Dark Souls 1's graphics a lot better. I like the ability to control your character better in Dark Souls 1. It just feels like you're more in control of your character. And it just feels more fluid, man. It's faster, and that's one thing that when I watch the previews of Bloodborne, and I see that the game really looks like it might control similar to Dark Souls. I don't know how you feel about that, but for me, that's a plus because I am primarily a PvP kind of guy. You know, I like the PvP aspect of it. That's what keeps me into the game. You know, PvE is great. I love it, and I love going through Dark Souls like for the first time. And it was me going through Dark Souls for the first time was a challenge, man. It was super fun. Me going through Dark Souls 2 for the first time, it wasn't necessarily as for me, it wasn't as good as an experience as Dark Souls 1 was, and that's a matter of an opinion. I know a lot of people are, vice versa, or have a different opposite opinion on that situation when it comes to PvE, and that's cool, and I respect that. You know, I'm not trying to say that Dark Souls 1 is better than Dark Souls 2. It is in my opinion, but you know, I think it did a lot more stuff better than Dark Souls 2 did, but I played a lot of Dark Souls 2. I played a lot of it PvP, but you know, I quit. I quit playing the game because I kind of got fed up with some of the stuff. Some of the stuff I got fed up was with the soul memory thing. We never really had a selective PvP class of what you wanted to do or what you wanted to use, and we couldn't really base each other off of this or that. Especially, it just to me it seemed like everything was just random. You know, I like a lot of random PvP. Like if I'm playing Dark Souls 1, and I'm hosting the Berg, which is something I used to love to do. I'm level 125. I know somebody's going to be in a similar level range as I am, so I'm pretty much basing my skill against their skill. And Dark Souls 2 with a soul memory thing wasn't like that. I go into the arena, and why wouldn't I want to rank up or level up as much as possible? And I don't know if things have changed now with patches. If things have changed with patches, that's cool. But still, I love the ability of being able to control my character as good as I could in Dark Souls 1 compared to Dark Souls 2. So, and I'm not trying to get into some big debate about what is better, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2 PvP, but I'm just saying that me being hyped up about Bloodborne is not as what I would be if it was last year around this time and Dark Souls 2 was coming out. Mainly, it's not really because I'm thinking that I'm going to be let down, because in the previous Bloodborne looks pretty good. Granted that it's it's in a different kind of time area and you've got guns and all that kind of stuff, and that's cool and stuff. I guess I'm not a big gun kind of guy. I'm not a big shooter fan, but it's made by the Souls team, so made by FromSoft. It's supposedly made by the guy that made Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls, so I'm kind of excited about that. So I'll definitely be picking the game up when it comes out in a few days, and I'm probably going to play it blind because I didn't play Dark Souls 2 completely blind, just because I wanted to get to the PvP. And like I said, kind of let me down. I played a lot of the PvP in Dark Souls 2, loaded a lot of videos, man, and was really just really hoping it would, hit the spot to where I wanted it to be. But for the main part, most of the PvP videos I have, I was playing against random people, and that just did not do what I wanted it to do. I wanted to have the community like we did in Dark Souls 1. And with all that being said, man, like I said, I love the PS4, and I'm hoping this game will be something I play for years. And I don't know with video games this day if we'll ever have a game like Dark Souls 1 was. And I mainly want to comment that. I want to say that to the people that are still playing Dark Souls 1. And, a lot of people love Dark Souls, but they quit, due to, I guess, the way PvP is now. And there's still people that play PvE, but like I said, I'm not a PvE kind of guy. So when I say these kind of things, I'm primarily focusing my attention on the guys that play PvE. Or not, excuse me, the guys that play PvP. You have guys that speedrun the game all the time, and that's cool. I'm not a big speedrunner guy. I don't want to practice speedrunning and practice PvE because it's just not as interesting as PvP would be to me. Granted, like I'm playing here, like I said, I haven't played in a few months. This is fun to me. I wish that FromSoft would have spent more time balancing this game and more time updating patches in this game than they would have in the Dark Souls 2. They spent way too much attention on that. And like I said, if you like Dark Souls 2 PvP, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you about it. But for me, for a Dark Souls 1 player, I wish that they would have spent as much time on that as they did. I wish they would spend more time on this game as they did that game. Is what I'm trying to say. So, anyways, one of the biggest things about Dark Souls, and I think it came out in 2011. One of the biggest things that I enjoyed about the game was and this was kind of the first part of Dark Souls 2 I was excited about was people not knowing, and I'm talking about a PvP basis here. I'm not talking about PvE because, like I said, I'm not a PvE guy. It's fun for the first few times you play it, but eventually it gets old. So, from a PvP standpoint, I like the fact that when the game comes out and everybody is just trying to explore on what weapon is the best and what armor is the best and what build is the best, and that's what's really fun. And that's the reason why I play so much Dark Souls 2 in the beginning was, trying different stuff, and you got a bunch of different random players that are using different stuff, and you're using different stuff, and you're trying to figure out what exactly is the best. And that's what's fun to me, because let's think about Dark Souls 1. When I started playing Dark Souls 1, I remember my first build was actually, I want to say it was a Giant Dad. And as shameful as that to say, I had the Mask of the Father because it gave extra endurance, and I had the Full Giants and a Chaos Zweihander because a lot of people, with the amount of player community, the amount of players that played the game back then, you didn't have, nobody was really super good at the game, PvP wise. So with the amount of people you had, you could stun lock people to death with that combo, and people didn't know how to get out of it, toggling wasn't super big those days, so I got used to winning by using that. And after that, I learned more about backstabs, I learned more about the Hornet Ring, and at the time, you had more endurance back in the old patch, or you had more weight limit. You could use the Darkwing Grain Ring at 50% equip load, I believe it was. So, I used a lot of the Hornet Ring. I used to sit in the forest, man, and just Hornet stab people. And at the time, stuff like that was frowned upon because you had different players that played then than you do now. The game kind of died off because it lost a lot of its commentators and a lot of its, I guess, community, because not many people, a lot of people still play it, but not as many as it used to. And it was kind of funny because, like, back then, katanas were frowned upon, spears. It was like pretty much you had to use something that was diverse, you know. And I respect that, you know, I respect that. Like, you know, what can you do to make your build original? What can you do to make your build unique? Um, you know, it's kind of like a battle of the build series, and that's cool and everything. It made the game more interesting. It made it more unique when you had a bunch of different people trying to, you know, think up and fucking uh, wonder about what build could I use to be successful and what build I could use to be good without, you know, exploding certain techniques. And it's not even about exploding certain techniques. It's just about build diversity. And for a while, you know, we watched those videos and we learned about that, and we commented on different message boards, and that was cool and everything. And eventually, the game got to where we had guys who were getting good at the game, and I guess a lot of people just got tired of it. I don't know. They wanted something different. There was problems they encountered. There was issues they discovered that this was not acceptable for them, and it was maybe acceptable for some people, and they just couldn't go on with the game even after playing years and years. And if I say years and years, or years and months, or however long they played and enjoyed the game, so they just quit. And it eventually got to where our community was just pretty much went from, you know, using builds and being diverse and all that kind of stuff to pretty much trying to kill each other as fast as possible. Which, and you have two sides of the story there. I like winning. Everybody likes winning, and but it seems like for a game for a game like Dark Souls, it seems like the main amount of community is more casual, I guess. And I wouldn't even say Dark Souls is a casual game. I think at the time it was released, it wasn't as mainstream as you say, you know, say something like Skyrim, which is released kind of similar in the same time frame. So when I say that, um, a lot of the people that did casually play it and did even want to get into PvP casually or even semi-casually kind of stopped playing, and it left for the truly hardcore players, which are still playing today. And you know, communities and all that kind of stuff evolve, and which, you know, eventually, you know, you look at a game like this and you compare it today to 2 or 3 years ago, or not even that long, and you compare the PvP, and it's a lot different because things evolve, and people accept different stuff. I remember back in fight clubs in the day, we you know, spears wasn't allowed, and Darkwood Green Ring wasn't allowed, Hornet Ring wasn't allowed, and you would pretty much not be allowed to even play or not even be accepted in the community if you use such things. Man, it's just like it's so different now. It's like sometimes I believe it's just a big kind of uh, you know, who's friends with who and who has the most friends who accept certain things, and those certain things become, you know, the gospel truth, and that's what we do from now on. But like I said, you know, you know, the Dark Souls community, the true players have stuck with it, and I like to consider myself one of those true players, even though I don't get the chance to play as much as I used to. But I still would jump on like I'm doing right now, and I'm playing. And these are a couple matches. Actually, this is one night's footage in the Berg, not too long, and I think I actually lose to this guy because I fuck up that black flame. But like I said, man, I'm hoping what I'm hoping for in Bloodborne. What I'm hoping for in Bloodborne is to, you know, start that whole Dark Souls 1 experience over where, you know, we have the ability to make builds. And I don't even know, guys, I haven't really even kept up with the Bloodborne. I don't even know if you can make unique builds. I hope you can. I know that there's PvP in the game, and that's what I like. I know there's ability to co-op, and that's cool. But I hope there's the ability to make builds, and I hope there's that process where we go through and wonder what's best, and eventually establish, you know, stuff that's good and not good. Because really, to me, a game like this, you know, you have fighting games, you have RPGs, you have different kind of sports games, and But I really like a game that is an RPG that gives you a PvP or a PvE experience and a PvP experience like Dark Souls. And Dark Souls did it perfectly for me. So, with that being said, I can't get into fighting games just one-on-one side scroller. I've got to have ability to choose different equipments and look different and have a unique sense of character and a style for myself and have it in a RPG kind of world, man. And that's what's important to me. So, anyways, guys, that's about enough of this rant on the last few things. But I do hope that everybody's looking forward to Bloodborne because I definitely am myself. I want to get into some good Bloodborne PvE and PvP, and I hope it's a good game. I hope it turns out better in the future that we continue are able to continue to play it. But that's about it for this commentary, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I know I rambled on a lot. But until next time, hopefully you'll see me on Bloodborne, and hopefully we'll make some YouTube videos and explore the PvE and PvP of Bloodborne and continue the legacy that is the Soul series.